Good morning. The time now is 7:30. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm your host, Bridgett Ellison, here on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. It is Thursday, April 25th, and hope you're having a good morning. We've definitely been having some really nice weather days. Meteorologist Candace Campos is back in the Pinpoint Weather Center getting us ready. And, we got the Magic game tonight, the big street festival out on, is it Church Street? So a game is on for all of that, weather-wise.
And the weather's going to be great, whether you're having to do those after-school activities, taking the kids to practices or games, or you just want to take on maybe a nice longer walk before or after dinner this evening. The weather's just going to be nice. Now, it's a little warmer than where we should be, so our average high is about 83, and today we're going to be up to about like 86 or 87. But when you start taking out all that humidity,
right,
it feels nice out there. Yeah, big difference. So let's take it to the map, show you what's going on. It's always nice when the weather forecast looks like, that, right? Big ridge of high pressure in control. We still have that onshore breeze that will continue to keep temperatures a bit on the warmer side. We're not looking at 90s in the forecast, at least for the next couple of days, but certainly above average. But the reason why it feels so comfortable is because of all of this dry air. It's been kind of in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere, but with time, it has been sinking down to the surface, making its way to where we can actually enjoy that dry weather. But when you have dry air in all the levels, it's going to be hard to create any rain, any cloud cover. So those bright blue skies will continue to be kind of the big story. This is really not a, quote, big story, but this is certainly a talker in case you've seen it kind of pop up either on social media or even hearing people kind of mention something. This, first off, is not a concern. This is not something we need to be worried about or lose any sleep over. Yes, it is April, but yes, we are watching this little area, a little burst of energy that has the potential of getting winds up to about 35 miles per hour in the middle of the Atlantic. So, of course, everything is relative, right? But I do want to just show this to you because as of right now, our waters are still extremely warm for this time of the year. And it looks like by the beginning of hurricane season, we'll have the warmest start ocean temperature-wise compared to any other season. So when you have warm waters, you have La Nina starting to kind of set up during the summer months. This is just going to be the start of it. Although this is not going to be the concern, I do want to show you is how many days till hurricane season. We are 37 days away from the start, which is June 1st. So this is just a good reminder, Bridgett, that things can develop from this point on throughout the rest of the year. Don't be surprised if we have areas that we are highlighting just because we have so many factors leaning towards having that active season. Besides that, though, other than being informed and prepared, that's all you can do at this point in time. Temperature is out the door on very nice day. We're in the mid to upper 50s, low 60s. If you need to do any tree trimming, any lawn work, painting, whatever you need to get done, today's going to be a great day to do it. And if you don't have time today, the weekend is also looking very much like this. Staying near to above average, temperatures in the 80s, tons of sunshine. Overnight lows will be in the mid 60s. Unfortunately, though, if you're hoping for some rain, Mother Nature really not helping out much. We're bringing back just a slim chance come Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's kind of the 7-day. Not looking too bad. I know folks who want it a little cooler are going to complain about it, but I mean, we are kind of ending April at this point in time. So onto the warmer weather we go.
That's true. So what's the first day of summer? When's that date? Is it like around
the 21st? 21st of June.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. We got a ways to go. So.
Oh yeah. We're still in the pits of spring.
Yes. It's a preview. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Candace.
You're welcome.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. We are going to check in with Trooper Steve over in Results 1. We also want to recap a fun day he had yesterday meeting a new friend with the animal services, Mr. Rocky. So how was yesterday?
What a cutie.
Yeah.
It's always a great time whenever we get to go out to Orange County Animal Services. Brian Almeida, their public information officer, he's specifically assigned to Orange County Animal Services, and his passion is amazing. Albert over there as well is the photographer, and they do so much to get these dogs and cats
Mm-hmm.
adopted. Yesterday, I got to visit Rocky. He is a 8 to 9 month old puppy. Look at this little face he's got.
Mm-hmm.
That nose. He's just something to keep in mind. He is a puppy. And so he's got puppy tendencies. He likes to
Mm-hmm.
gnaw a little
Curious.
bit, but it's
Mm-hmm.
all going to grow. Yeah, grow out. You're probably watching this if you're watching this from home. And the whole, I got distracted because someone's texting me here. Um, you're seeing that he's got a missing eye. So he does only have one eye, but it was medically removed when he was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
He is perfectly fine. Clean bill of health. Some leave there with heartworm kind of situations, but this young man right here is ready for his forever home. So to be completely transparent, he
Mm-hmm.
has been adopted 3 different times. Okay. Now, some people would see that as a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Each time, it had nothing to do with Rocky himself. It wasn't a behavioral issue. It wasn't anything. It was people not understanding that he's a puppy and that he wants to go out and he wants to do things. I'm chalking up the last experience he had as a love triangle, Bridget. So the dispatcher, a local dispatcher here in Central Florida, did adopt Rocky, brought him home, and got along great with the family. And the problem is, only got along with, or he got along with the 2 other dogs, but one of them was jealous about the relationship
Ah,
that he developed with one of the other dogs there and just did not like him. So
wow.
unfortunately, Rocky got brought back. But Rocky is there. He is ready for adoption. He was sweet, high energy. We ran around before the stream. And then right when we were starting, he just calmed down. He took a nice nap on the grass and in the sun. A beautiful puppy. Gave me kisses the entire time.
So
But you can
sweet.
go over to, yeah, you can go over to Orange County Animal Services and find Rocky today. I posted him on my Facebook on social media. We've posted him over at clickorlando.com. And it's probably the most rewarding stream I get to do every single month because we know that we're affecting another soul's life to make sure that they find their home out there. And I'm a big adopter. So many people want these brand dogs. There's one for you because that's a boxer and he is
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous. So
Mm-hmm.
$55 right now for will get you a dog at Orange County Animal Services. And that includes everything. So they come completely neutered or spayed, and all their shots and their records, and they get chipped and everything. So that's a deal.
It is.
Because some cases you're spending thousands of dollars for stuff like that. And then,
Right.
of course, you can always return back to that location for your veterinarian services. I use
Oh.
Pet Alliance. Like my girls, I take them. I don't go to a full-on veterinarian just because the prices are ridiculous when you go to these other vets. So I choose to take my dogs over to Pet Alliance because all those funds then go right back to Pet Alliance,
Mm-hmm.
so they can help take care of animals. So adopt, don't shop. Check in your community who needs the resources and the help,
Right.
because at the end of the day, Bridget, they have 140 dogs there right now
Mm.
that are waiting for a home. That's a lot of
Yeah.
animals that don't need to be there. And
Yeah.
he even said the goal is they would love not to have a single animal there at any given time, but they know that's never going to happen. So
Yeah.
we need everyone's help. Let's find
Yeah,
Rocky a
even if you
home.
can foster a dog, that helps out just to
Yes.
get them out of the shelter. And so, yeah, there's a lot of good that's happening. And so I'm glad that you're able to
They're
feature an animal up close and
yes.
personal, because we know they're there.
Yes, they're going
We
to
know there's a
also,
need.
it's not come out yet, but next month they are starting a brand new volunteer program that they're going to be putting out to encourage people to come out. And hey, you want to spend an hour with the dogs? Cool. You
Right.
can walk them around the lake. You could pull them out of their kennel just so they, like you said,
Let's get them
perfectly,
out.
they can have that exposure. Yes.
That's great. I love that. And you can read to the dogs. You can go, anyway, we could go on and on. But what's going on with traffic?
Traffic right now, I call it kind of back to average. So we were watching this earlier crash in South Seminole County, right at that Orange County line. I'm talking 436, just north of Aloma. Castleberry PD was out there. We were watching that at the end of the show. 2 right lanes were blocked. I say were because the crash is completely gone. So we're doing much better this morning. I-4 in Lake Mary almost spooked me out this morning, y'all, because I didn't see anybody westbound. And now there it is. So we are seeing those delays westbound this morning from about 46A to Lake Mary. And then it clears up pretty much as you approach 434. And then the rest is smooth sailing. Your express lane's nice and clear this morning. 31 minutes from Osceola to Colonial and 22 minutes to Lake Mary. 30 minutes is always a little higher because we have these delays out here from about 27 to 429. I cannot wait for these express lanes to even be semi-suggested they're going to be built, and they're going to be all right there in the median. But as you can see, they haven't even started the idea yet. So just brace yourself out there. Intercession City, good morning to you. I do have a crash in Disney Springs at Buena Vista Drive at Bonnet Creek Parkway. FHP not on scene yet, but you'll see Disney security out there. Hunters Creek, good morning to you. Osceola Parkway, nice and clear. Florida Turnpike running smooth as well with no issues along State Road 417. Point Siena, we already know you guys get real busy out there, and you can see all that red as we were coming down here to Cypress Parkway at Cypress Drive. This is going to set us up pretty bad this morning if you're down in that community. Try to leave a little early so you're not showing up to high school late, whether you go to Point Siena High School or Liberty. 417, like I said, nice and clear along with the Florida Turnpike. Your drive times across Central Florida sitting in the green, whether you're on I-95, 417, 528, and there are currently no issues over by the airport. Bridgett, today at 10 a.m., I'm going to be live, and we're going to talk about defensive driving schools, why they have them, what they could do for you, and, you know, there are some discounts available on your insurance if you decide to take some of these courses. And even if you're not looking for the discount, the things that some of these classes can teach you are pretty amazing because it just makes your brain think just a little differently, and you pick up a few things. One of our engineers suggested that I do this today because he took a class, and now he says he's always looking around in his mirrors. And that is my goal, is for everyone to constantly be looking around. So we're going to do that at 10 a.m. today over at clickorlando.com.
Good deal. Well, we'll see you then. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, we have a little bit of news to get to. Before we get to autism acceptance and awareness, we have a live guest this morning we want to talk to. But first, an update on the official murder charges now against Stephen Stearns in the murder of Madeline Soto.
Stephen Stearns has been indicted by the grand jury on first-degree murder for the killing of Madeline Soto. We presented the case to the grand jury. They returned an indictment.
Stephen Stearns now facing a charge of first-degree murder in the death of his girlfriend's daughter, 13-year-old Madeline Soto. State Attorney Andrew Bain, along with the Kissimmee Police Department, said it took the grand jury weeks to review the case before making the decision.
I want to thank the grand jury for their hard work and their efforts in making sure that we're making this first step in seeking justice for Madeline Soto, for her family, and so the community can have closure in this case.
Stearns has been locked up on multiple sexual abuse charges after investigators say they found disturbing photos and videos on his cell phone. Stearns initially claimed he dropped Madeline off at Hunters Creek Middle School on February 26, but investigators said she never made it to class. They now believe he killed her that morning, then moved her body to the woods near St. Cloud.
We know this case has gained significant public attention because Madeline had just celebrated her 13th birthday and was just a child.
So we'll keep you updated on what happens in court today. Also yesterday, a dramatic scene played out in downtown Orlando during rush hour around 6 p.m. at South Orange Avenue in Lake Lucerne. And an armed suspect ended up shot and killed. The police chief says the officers had pulled over the suspect, who was wanted on attempted murder charges. But just within seconds, the suspect ended up pulling a gun and firing a shot. An officer returned fire and shot and killed that suspect. We're still waiting for more details. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating this as well, which is standard in any shooting involving an officer. So that is still a developing story there. Now, to Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, we have Sean Lalime on the line this morning, a board certified behavior analyst and center director for Florida Autism Center's Kissimmee location. Good to have you on this morning, Sean.
Thank you, Richard. Nice to be here.
When we talk about Autism Awareness Month, many people are aware of autism. I mean, it's 1 in 36 children are on the spectrum. And Sean, we also now, talk about acceptance and what that entails. And can you tell us more about that idea of acceptance in our community and, our places of work?
Absolutely. So when we think about even this month in particular, but it also is a year-round thing. So we think about autism acceptance and awareness. It's basically celebrated every April to raise awareness for autism. We celebrate what makes individuals with autism unique. And it's a great opportunity to provide education to families and other third parties and resources and surrounding communities.
And when we talk about why it's more common in boys, that we say 4 times more common in boys than girls, the reason why is a little bit layered, right?
Yes, yeah. There's a little bit of talk in the field. I wish I could answer that in more detail, but we do know that specifically 1 in 4, an average of boys are affected with autism than girls.
Mm-hmm. And I know that they're saying now that girls are a little bit better at masking it. So sometimes they're diagnosed much later or sometimes misdiagnosed with other conditions, but in fact they're on the spectrum. So it's interesting. Are we learning more about what may cause it? We've talked about ways to, help people live with it, but are we getting closer to figuring out what's causing it?
That is my hope too, that we are, and I know the research in the field, they are inching closer and closer, but typically we look at the field in and of itself has stated that, basically there are genetic markers. So it's a genealogy that's playing a part, as well as like some environmental factors such as the age of the parent and if there's any pregnancy difficulties, that sort of thing.
And so what are some of the symptoms or some of the things to look out for if maybe you're maybe wondering if, someone or your child may be on the spectrum?
Absolutely. Some things that we typically try to look for is usually we'll see, we call them red flags.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see reduced eye contact. We'll see if the child previously had acquired speech, we'll see a loss of that. And then we'll also typically see like a more of a preference for solitude rather than being around individuals.
And it really varies too, because sometimes you see people who are more social and but may miss some cues, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we need to take into play the potential for the extroverted people and the introverted people, and that's especially important. That if we do have an inkling that our kiddos do get referred out, we bring it up to our primary care physicians so that they can get properly diagnosed.
Mm-hmm. And are there any like physical, you talked about eye contact. Are there other, physical related characteristics that might be a clue to get checked out?
Not necessarily, but sometimes we can see barriers as with motor functioning and control. So that's definitely an area that we want to look for.
And when it comes to management, there's a wide variety within the spectrum because there are other syndromes or other conditions within the spectrum, like, for instance, would Tourette's or Asperger's be included in that, or where do they fall?
Yeah, typically, I mean, if we're thinking about dual diagnoses, it's more challenging for the younger folk, the kiddos that are around age 5 or younger. But typically, there can be the possibility for dual diagnoses. So we'll also usually see like an ADD component or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder paired with autism.
And so, what are some of the leading ways to treat and help manage, those challenges or those conditions that they're dealing with?
Basically, the best way to help them out is once they do get diagnosed, usually the primary or the diagnostician will refer them out to applied behavior analysis therapy, where we can help them out.
And so, what's that look like? What is that like? Is that weekly, daily? I mean, monthly?
Yeah, it definitely is dependent. We like to say in the field that if you've met one child with autism, you've met one child with autism. They're very unique and different, and so they have different things that they need to get from therapy. So as far as our standards for applied behavior analysis, it's basically we make sure that we want to improve our child's overall quality of life. We want to pair with their families and the other stakeholders, whether they're with a speech therapist or an occupational therapist, and make sure that we can help teach them, new ways to socialize and communicate.
And what about as they get older? Do things improve or do challenges change? What happens from, early childhood into, going into adulthood?
Yeah, what I have seen through the years, I've worked with children from 2 years old up until 23, and so usually we will see them potentially, if they make it through certain benchmarkers, then we will potentially have a discharge, usually at a younger age, around anywhere between 5 and 7 years old. But typically after that, we make sure that the families feel confident and competent in their abilities to follow through with different applied behavior analysis techniques to help their child. But we do mention that if there still is a barrier or challenge, let's say our kiddos are going through puberty, sometimes they do have to come back for additional services in their teens or even adulthood, but also making sure that they do have the support and or support groups to attend to definitely makes a big impact.
And it's, I always say different ability, and many times we see so many great talents even right now in different fields. We've got like a first autistic race car driver right now, and many people who are in entertainment are on the spectrum. So there's a lot of more encouragement around living and thriving even on the spectrum.
Absolutely. Yeah, we think about the importance to support these individuals too, as in the case with anyone, supporting the needs and individuals with autism isn't just like a moral necessity, but it gives the people like a voice to share their unique perspectives and their talents, like you mentioned with a race car driver as well. Like they can do anything and they have the world at their fingertips just as anyone else. So we want to make sure that we promote awareness and education so that we can create a world essentially where individuals with autism are not only valued for these unique talents that they have and their abilities, but it's just really important to remember that supporting them isn't just, again, going back to the one-time thing, but it's an ongoing commitment.
And many times awareness is about understanding.
Yes. Yeah, we want to make sure that we're understanding, we are accepting, and we're advocating on their behalf.
And so at the Kissimmee location and other locations, what can people find there, or how can they connect with you all?
They can basically go to bluespigpediatrics.com, and so they can find out more information about us, what we're all about, and the services that we provide.
And is it one of those where you can use insurance, or typically, you see people come in and it is, something that's out of pocket, or?
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, we're an early education provider basically. So we do work with the younger kiddos around 2 to 7 years old typically, but they can use. We take most forms of insurance and also private pay as well.
Okay, and if you're not close to Kissimmee.
We also do have many other centers throughout the Florida region for them to select.
Okay, and that you said Blue Sprig. Could you spell that just quickly before we go?
Oh yes, Blue Sprig, BLUE SPRIG, Pediatrics, PEDIATRICS.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Blue Sprig Pediatrics. And Sean Lalime, a certified board analyst and center director for Florida Autism Center, Kissimmee location. Thanks for being with us and helping spread that awareness and acceptance around autism.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.
Thank you too.
So great information there. I hope that you can, save that website if you need to look further into that. And, we, before we go, want to tell you and remind you about Pause for Peace. That is this Saturday in Baldwin Park at Blue Jacket Park, and registration starts at 8 a.m. The theme this year for the costumes and everything is space. So it's a space theme. And Trooper Steve and New 6 investigator Eric Sandoval are co-ambassadors this year. And this is to benefit domestic violence survivors who have pets, because Harbor House of Central Florida is very much involved in making sure that families can stay together, including their pets, even if they are dealing and going through domestic violence situations. So ahead of the walk, New 6 is hosting a donation drive benefiting Harbor House. That's today, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can call in and give your donations to help support this great cause. Even if you can't make it to Pause for Peace, this is a great way for you to connect, reach out, and support our community. So make sure you call in this evening on News 6, and we'll be standing by for you. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 with more Breakfast with Bridgett, and we hope to see you there. Up next is Weatherwise with Jonathan Kegas, and I'll see you coming up later today at noon. Take care.